Im Süden der USA sind laut Medienberichten mindestens 8 Menschen durch Unwetter ums Leben gekommen. Ein Sturmtief hatte am Wochenende für mehrere Tornados in den Bundesstaaten Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi und Alabama gesorgt. Dabei wurden Häuser zerstört, Straßen überschwemmt, Bäume und Strommasten umgekippt. In Zehntausenden Haushalten fiel der Strom aus. Auch zahlreiche Flugverbindungen mussten gestrichen werden.
Der Süden der USA, getroffen von Sturmböen, Sturzfluten und Tornados mit Windgeschwindigkeiten von bis zu 225 Kilometern pro Stunde. Ist das Sturmtief vorbeigezogen, blicken die Bewohner auf das, was noch übrig geblieben ist. Die Kleinstadt Franklin in Texas, völlig zerlegt. Ähnliche Szenen auch im Mississippi. Hier ragen die Äste durch die Zimmerdecke. Der Baum stürzte ins Haus und verfehlte nur knapp ein Kind. Das Mädchen saß auf dem Sofa und wollte sich gerade in Sicherheit bringen. Doch dann landete schon dieser Baum im Wohnzimmer, verschob mehrere Möbelstücke und drückte sie damit an die Wand. Ich zog sie da heraus. Doch so viel Glück wie das Mädchen haben nicht alle. Mehrere Todesopfer gibt es, darunter auch Kinder. Besonders hart getroffen von den Stürmen wurden Mississippi, Texas, Louisiana und Alabama, ebenso North Carolina und Ohio. Schwierig bleibt die Situation, denn die Schlechtwetterfront zieht weiter nach Nordosten. Auch New York und Washington bereiten sich nun darauf vor.
The tornado threat and the severe weather moving up the East Coast tonight. A state of emergency in Mississippi right now, the third day of a deadly storm system. Treacherous travel this holiday weekend, white-knuckle driving, you see it there on I-95 in Darien, Georgia. Atlanta firefighters rescuing a truck driver from underneath a fallen tree. And the wreckage of a home after a tornado in Franklin County, Virginia.
Wet ground from lots of rain, and now these storms are knocking out these huge trees, and it's just getting started.
The storm started before dawn. A gash ripped in a Georgia apartment building. The roof of a Knoxville apartment building torn away.
I didn't know what was going on. I was shaking. I was shocked.
Along with those heavy winds, heavy rains. This along the Georgia-Florida border.
I am right in the middle of the heart of a tornado storm right now.
The storm's cutting power for thousands and more than 1,000 flights canceled. Overnight, 8 tornadoes in Mississippi, the town of Morton taking a direct hit.
And then it just went through in just a matter of seconds, and it was over. I mean, out of blue.
Homes crumbled and cars crushed by the high-end EF2 tornado with winds over 130 miles an hour.
There is so much wind energy over the mid-Atlantic right now, but these storms stretch all the way down into South Florida. Look at the radar scope, even reaching back in through parts of Memphis. But clearly, North Carolina and Virginia are the hot spots tonight. Raleigh, first time you've had a minor risk issue in 3 years. So let's time things out and show you the storms getting up through D.C. and Philadelphia, New York City by daybreak, and then getting the heavier rain, and really for much of Saturday morning through New England. So much so we expect flash flood watches for nearly all of the Northeast. A little bit quieter on Sunday, but the next few hours, Tom,
rescue
will be
crews
dangerous.
fanned out in Black Mountain after the city experienced heavy rain throughout the day. Severe weather is bringing misery to the South for the second weekend in a row.
Oh gosh.
Tornadoes, high winds, and pounding rains are destroying homes and leaving some communities without power. The storm system is being blamed for at least 5 deaths since Thursday, including an 8-year-old girl who was killed when a tree fell on a Florida home Friday morning. But a woman in Morton, Mississippi managed to survive, even as a twister destroyed her home.
This house behind us is totally destroyed, with the exception of that closet that she was in. And it's really a miracle.
and we look at the reports for at least tornadoes right now, 3 being reported, 1 in Virginia, 1 in southern Georgia, and 1 in the Florida Panhandle. Go to wind reports, and you can see it looks just like the day before, but moving a little farther east and slowly moving up the eastern seaboard. There's too many to count, and it doesn't give you a tally of how many there are because it's a work in progress. They're constantly being updated. So you can see all of these light blues are high wind reports. And if you click on them, you can see they're doing damage. The emergency manager reported tree down at an intersection of Southeast 90th Street and Highway 475. Down here, very large oak limbs down. And a lot of these are falling on power lines. Power lines around the area. Multiple trees down in Chiefland. That's in Central Florida or West Central Florida. All of these are generally associated with some sort of damage to roofs, mobile homes, power lines, all of these blues that you see, and it's an ongoing event right now. As I do this video, it continues. 80-mile-an-hour winds being reported, 90s, 60s, and it's moving its way up the eastern seaboard, and so will the power outages. They'll slowly move up the eastern seaboard. Right now we've got over, if I'm not mistaken, 226,000. That was before I started this video. There's more now, probably over 250,000 without electricity, and look for that number to climb as the afternoon moves on. Here's what it looked like back on April 13th. There was 175,000 without power, and it's due to these spring storms that we're seeing. And we see spring storms every year. It's just this year they seem to be quite exceptional. Back on April 15th, more than likely this afternoon, this power outage map could look very similar to what it did on April 15th at 7:30 a.m. Multiple state event with major power outages. Over 300,000 without power that day. So look for the numbers to go up probably near that same area today. Yesterday, 100,000 alone in Texas without power due to those severe thunderstorms that rolled through the area. And this was back on April 18th, and there were also power outages on the 17th. Here's those tornadoes I showed you near Jackson, Mississippi. 10 yesterday on April the 18th. 10 tornadoes today so far. I'm going to show you a little video I put together. All of these color-coded areas you see are some sort of severe weather warnings extending, or watches extending, from Maine down into West Central Florida. Again, that's 1,555 miles. Unbelievable. That's consecutive. 1,555 miles of severe weather watches, warnings, and alerts. I don't think I've ever seen that many before at one time. But big heads up, guys, if you're in this area, expect possible power outages today as the winds persist. The lightning is getting stronger, or actually, it's staying about the same. Actually, 28,000 when we first came on here was at 27,000.